Madeira is a volcanic island in the Atlantic located just off the coast of North Africa, but technically it's part of Portugal. While it's best known as the birthplace of Cristiano Ronaldo, what really makes Madeira stand out is its jaw-dropping natural beauty, some of the best views in all of Europe. This isn't your typical Madeira travel guide. You won't hear me recommending a trip to Funchal just to ride the toboggan, because I didn't do it, and to be honest, it looked like a bit of a rip-off to me. Instead, I'm going to show you the best places in Madeira for nature lovers. If you're into towering waterfalls, dramatic mountain ridgelines and scenic roads, this is the video for you. Make sure you stick around till the end because I've included a few underrated spots that most tourists miss. Quick disclaimer, many of these spots can be dangerous if not treated with respect. If you're planning to hike, bring proper gear. Sturdy shoes with good grip, layers for warmth, and a raincoat just in case. If there are railings or warning signs, take them seriously. Sadly, in recent years, several people have lost their lives by either crossing barriers or just underestimating the terrain. Also, be prepared to pay a small €3 entrance fee for a few of these hikes, but trust me, the views are worth every penny. And finally, I want to apologise for my terrible pronunciation, so I'll definitely make sure I include all of the names on the screen so you know what I'm talking about. Pico Do Arieiro. Pico Do Arieiro is one of the most iconic natural spots in Madeira, and it's especially popular at sunrise and sunset, when clouds drift between the jagged peaks and create truly otherworldly scenes. Standing at 1,818 metres, it's one of the highest points on the island. I went up for a sunrise, hoping for a stunning start to the day, but nature had other plans. When I arrived in the dark, there was plenty of parking available. Just a heads up, it gets bitterly cold and windy up there, so make sure you bring extra layers. There are two car parks. The one at the summit is closer to the trailhead, but often chaotic, while the lower car park is much more spacious, but it will add around 10 to 15 minutes to your walk. At the summit, you'll find toilets and a cafe which is open from 9 AM. As you can see, my sunrise hopes were ruined by thick clouds. If, like me, you get there and it looks like this, don't be discouraged. Weather at this altitude changes fast and skies can clear unexpectedly. Even though the famous PR1 trail from Arieiro to Ruivo is partially closed due to wildfire damage at the moment, you can still walk the first section, easily one of the most dramatic parts of the entire route. Narrow cliffside paths protected by railings hug the ridgeline, and the views only get more impressive as you continue. One of the most famous sections is the Stairway to Heaven, a steep descent surrounded by swirling clouds and towering cliffs. It's the scariest part of the trail, but also the most exhilarating and beautiful. Eventually, you'll hit the trail closure where the path is blocked. From here, you get a fantastic vantage point down the valley. The only option is to turn back, but trust me, this isn't a downside. The return journey offers a whole new perspective, especially with the constantly shifting clouds. I'm usually not a fan of out and back hikes, but this was amazing in both directions. And just before I reached the end, I witnessed something I'd never seen before. A Brocken spectre. It's a rare sight where your shadow is projected onto the clouds below, encircled by a rainbow halo. Beautiful. Pico Ruivo. Pico Ruivo is the highest peak on Madeira, standing at a jaw-dropping 1,862 metres, over 6,000 feet above sea level. Luckily, you don't need to climb the whole thing from the bottom. There's a car park about an hour's walk from the summit, which makes this peak surprisingly accessible. That said, the car park is small and fills up quickly, so you might need to loop around a few times to get a space. Ruivo is another favourite spot for sunrise and sunset, but I chose to hike it during the day, and I wasn't disappointed. Thanks to its elevation, the trail is often above the clouds, creating surreal views with mountaintops floating like islands in a white sea of cloud. You'll follow the PR 1.2 trail, which costs €3 to access. The path gradually climbs towards the summit, though you won't see the peak itself at first. Along the way, you'll be treated to panoramic views, including some looking back towards Pico do Arieiro. The route includes multiple benches for resting, which is a nice touch if you want to slow down and take it all in. Eventually, the summit comes into view, and it's a final steep push to get there. Right before the final climb, there's a small cafe, shop, and toilets, perfect for a quick recharge. Once you reach the top, the views are unbeatable. I was literally above the clouds, with jagged ridgelines breaking through the mist in every direction. I could have stayed up there for hours, just basking in the sun and soaking it all in. Like the previous hike, this is a linear trail, so you'll retrace your steps on the way down. But again, the the return leg offers just as much beauty as the ascent. 25 Fontes and Risco hike. One of the most iconic lavada walks in Madeira, the 25 Fontes and Risco waterfall hike combines dense lush forest with dramatic cliffs and cascading water. 25 Fontes means 25 springs in Portuguese, and the name comes from the multiple streams trickling down the moss-covered rock into a crystal clear pool. Nearby, the equally impressive Risco waterfall plunges nearly 100 metres. The trail begins at the Rabacal car park located on the Paul de Serra plateau. You can walk down the winding road to the trailhead, or you can take a shuttle bus for a small fee. If you choose to walk, you'll be greeted with amazing views looking down the luscious valley ahead. Once you reach the start of the trail, you have to pay €3 per person. The hike is moderate in difficulty and well maintained, following old irrigation channels called lavadas through dense vegetation. Expect a mix of narrow paths, rock steps, and some incredible views. The total walk, if you do both waterfalls, is less than 10 kilometres return. I recommend doing both waterfalls as they are both as impressive as each other. The sheer drop of Risco is something you can't miss. You will see a signpost that points you in the direction of Risco. It's just under a kilometre detour each way from the main route. As you follow the lavada, you soon see the towering fall up ahead. There is a viewing point further along so you can get up close to Risco and see it in all its glory. Once done, retrace your steps before turning downhill towards the 25 Fontes. The route down to 25 Fontes has lots to see. This very high bridge takes you over some of the nicest coloured water I've ever seen. Turn around and you can marvel at the impressive vegetation that clings onto the cliffs. A short walk further along a very narrow path with some pretty big drops and you will reach the picture perfect 25 Fontes. You can have a swim here, but let me warn you, although the water looks beautiful, it is freezing. Once done, just return the way you came back to the start of the trail. If you're tired after all that walking and uphill, don't worry, you can get the shuttle bus back to the car park for a small fee. Vereda dos Balcões viewpoint. A short but stunning hike, the PR11 trail, also known as the Vereda dos Balcões, leads to one of Madeira's most accessible and rewarding viewpoints. The route is only 1.5 kilometres each way, making it perfect for all fitness levels. It starts in Ribeira Frio, a small village where you'll find a couple of places to buy souvenirs or just grab something to eat. The trail winds gently along a lavada through lush forest, crossing bridges before the path takes you between large mossy rocks. The views along the way are incredible. Before long you reach a small cafe that sells souvenirs and just look at the views from here, perfect for a snack with a view. After passing through another passage between large rocks, you will reach the final viewpoint. At the Balcões viewpoint, you're rewarded with a panoramic view of the valley down below, with the highest peaks in Madeira towering over you in the distance. On a clear day, the view is breathtaking. If you want to get that little bit higher than everyone else, there is a small rock you can climb behind, but be careful, a fall from here would not end well. Faial. Faial is a small, charming village on Madeira's north coast, often overlooked by tourists, but packed with variety. It has a designated ocean swimming spot with clear deep water surrounded by volcanic rock, a great place to cool off. The views from here looking at the towering Eagle Rock are amazing. There's something therapeutic about watching the waves crash against this beautiful landscape. Above the coastline there is a Miradouro, a cliffside viewpoint offering dramatic views over the North Shore and Eagle Rock. But in my opinion, to get the best view of Eagle Rock, head up the ER213, where you will find a few places to pull over. The views from here are just insane. Aguage Waterfall. Continue along the ER213 and you will soon find the Aguage Waterfall, one of Madeira's hidden treasures. Despite only being a 10 to 15 minute walk each way, many people miss this fall. There are a couple of parking spots here. I'll put the what three words on the screen so you can easily find it. To reach the falls, you take a narrow path downhill past a few gardens before descending steeply downstairs. A final dirt track takes you to the fall, an impressive fall that tumbles off a cliff into a small pool below. You'll struggle to find a waterfall that is this good and requires such little effort. Once done, return the way you came and back to the car. This is perfect to add in as a short addition if you are travelling from Faial to the famous triangle houses in Santana, Fanal Forest. Fanal Forest is like stepping into a dream, or maybe a nightmare. This ancient forest lies high in the northwest hills and is often covered in mist, and the wind can be pretty strong here. So if you do come here, make sure you bring a raincoat. For some reason we decided to not bring them.
and it's pretty wild. It feels pretty British up here, to be honest.
The twisted, gnarled laurel trees, some over 500 years old, twist eerily in the fog. This feeling is made a bit more creepy by the very loud frogs that can be heard from a nearby pond. But when the mist clears, it transforms into a peaceful green meadow with beautiful mountain views, perfect for a picnic. Just don't count on blue skies. The parking here is free, and you can either do a short circular walk or just roam about the area freely, marvelling at the twists and turns of each tree. Ribeira da Janela. On Madeira's wild northwest coast, Ribeira da Janela is famous for its striking sea stacks and an old hand-dug tunnel that leads to a scenic cliff edge. The most iconic stack, known locally as Lua de Ribeira da Janela, rises sharply from the ocean and is best viewed from this small viewing point. There is free roadside parking and some more parking spots right down at the bottom. Once parked, you will see the steps rising up in front of you. Head up here and you are greeted by a small archway which reveals this impressive sea stack. To access the tunnel, head slightly uphill and turn to your left. You will then be able to go through the short tunnel carved into solid rock. I say short, but once you're in the middle, it can be hard to see because it's so dark. And once you reach the other side, the vibrant colours of the landscape hit even harder after being in the dark. The whole experience is short and sweet, but it leaves a big impression. It's a great place to stop en route to Porto Moniz or Fanal. Porto Moniz, on the northwest tip of the island, is best known for its natural volcanic swimming pools. These lava-formed basins fill with Atlantic water and are safe to swim in, even when the sea is rough. There's a developed side with stairs and changing rooms, and a wilder section for those who prefer something more natural. While you're in the area, don't miss the Achadas de Cruz cable car, Europe's steepest cable car. It drops nearly 500 metres at a 45-degree angle down a cliff to a remote agricultural village. This is a busy location, and with only 2 cable cars running, there is often a sizable queue. I decided not to do this as I didn't want to wait. Admittedly, I might have been a little relieved as it did seem pretty scary. Miradouro, Farol de Ponta do Pargo. Located on the westernmost tip of the island, this viewpoint offers one of Madeira's best sunset spots. The lighthouse, Farol de Ponta do Pargo, was built in 1922 and sits dramatically on a cliff edge, over 300 metres above the Atlantic Ocean. From the viewpoint, you can see the jagged coastline stretch endlessly in both directions. The perfect place to sit back, relax, and watch the world go by. Vereda de Ponta de São Lourenço. This hike takes you along Madeira's easternmost peninsula, a dry and windswept landmass that contrasts sharply with the green forest inland. The PR8 trail follows the spine of the peninsula for about 7-kilometre round trip, and it features sweeping ocean views on both sides. The terrain here is volcanic and there is little shade, so it's best to tackle this early in the morning. Parking is limited and fills up quickly unless you want to park far away and add a few kilometres onto your hike. Unfortunately, I couldn't do this hike because I couldn't get parked near enough. Luckily, we could get parked at a nearby viewing point where I had a little walk and admired some of the most bizarre and breathtaking cliffs I've ever seen. Just be careful not to go too close to the edge as there is a very big drop. Cabo Skywalk. Cabo is one of Madeira's most visited spots, and for good reason. It's Europe's second highest sea cliff, soaring 580 metres above the ocean. But what's unique about this is it features a glass-floored skywalk that lets you stare straight down at the farmland and the crashing waves below. The viewpoint is easy to access by car and has a cafe, gift shop and public toilets. It's usually quite busy, but still worth the short detour. Tickets cost €2 per person, and even though it's only a quick attraction, it's one you won't forget. I don't like heights, and stepping onto the glass had my heart racing. The camera doesn't do it justice to just how high this is. You need to try it yourself. ER105. The ER105 road winds through one of the most scenic sections of Madeira. As you climb from Serra de Água towards the island's central spine, you're treated to views both up towards jagged peaks and down into lush green valleys. Pull over at any of the miradouros, which are lookout points, to snap photos or just soak in the silence. Some even have picnic benches, ideal for a lunch spot with views that are hard to beat anywhere in Europe. This is a must-see if you want some of the best views on the island without having to walk at all. Angel's Waterfall. Angel's Waterfall is one of the most unique spots in Madeira. Located on an old coastal road in Ponta de Sol, the waterfall actually spills directly onto the road itself. Until recently, you could drive under it, but after a rockfall incident in 2024, the road was closed to cars. But don't worry, this means you can now stand under it without having to worry about cars. Just keep an eye out for rocks falling. There is free roadside parking a 10-minute walk away from the fall. Once you arrive, enjoy the view of the fall tumbling onto the road with the sweeping sea views in front of it. Standing under the fall is the perfect way to cool off, although I would probably recommend taking your shoes and top off, as I got soaked. Which is what happens when you stand underwater. I'm just an idiot. It's only a quick stop, but definitely worth seeing. So that's everything you need to know to make the best of your trip to Madeira as an outdoor lover. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and drop a sub. And if you want to check out another one of my videos, click the screen now.